For centuries, the legend of Hercules has been celebrated as the ultimate tale of heroism, strength, and redemption. As the son of Zeus, his name became synonymous with invincible power, and his 12 labors were glorified as near-impossible feats, each showcasing his unmatched might. But what if history had it all wrong? What if Hercules was not the noble hero he claimed to be? According to the traditional legend, Hercules was condemned to serve King Eurystheus after being driven into madness by the goddess Hera and committing the unthinkable, murdering his own wife and children. As penance, he was assigned 12 impossible labors that would supposedly absolve his sins and prove his divine strength. However, upon closer examination, inconsistencies begin to surface. Ancient sources, such as those from Pindar and later Roman interpretations, suggest that Hercules may not have completed all these tasks as described. In fact, there is compelling evidence that he may have cheated, taken credit for others' work, or even fabricated parts of his legendary feats. Hercules' first labor involved slaying the invulnerable Nemean lion. The story claims that he strangled the beast with his bare hands after discovering that weapons were useless. But skeptics argue that this account is suspicious. How did he manage to subdue a creature with impenetrable skin? Some historians suggest that Hercules may have had assistance, perhaps a well-placed trap or even an unseen ally who weakened the lion before the final battle. Additionally, variations of the myth imply that the lion may not have been as invulnerable as claimed. Some texts hint that its hide could be pierced under certain conditions, raising the question of whether Hercules exaggerated his victory to enhance his own legend. The second labor, the slaying of the multi-headed Hydra, raises even more doubts. The myth states that every time one of its heads was cut off, 2 would grow in its place, until Hercules' nephew, Iolaus, suggested cauterizing the stumps to prevent regeneration. But if Hercules required assistance to complete the task, does he truly deserve full credit? Many believe that this labor should have been disqualified, and yet Eurystheus still allowed it. Was there favoritism involved? Or worse, was Iolaus the real hero behind the victory while Hercules merely played the role of executioner? Hercules' third task was to capture the golden-horned Ceryneian hind, an extraordinarily fast deer sacred to Artemis. Supposedly, he pursued the hind for a year before capturing it. However, alternate versions suggest he may not have chased it at all. Ancient accounts hint that he may have negotiated with Artemis or even stolen the animal while it was resting. If so, does trickery count as heroism? Or was Hercules simply manipulating circumstances in his favor? Hercules was tasked with capturing the monstrous Erymanthian boar alive. The widely accepted story describes him driving the beast into exhaustion before binding it and carrying it back to Eurystheus. But alternative interpretations suggest that the boar may have been a mere exaggeration, possibly an ordinary, albeit large, wild pig. Some versions claim that local hunters had already weakened the creature before Hercules arrived. Was this labor more of a publicity stunt than a genuine display of strength? Hercules' fifth labor required him to clean the filthy Augean stables in a single day, an impossible task given the sheer volume of filth. But rather than manually cleaning, he diverted 2 rivers to wash the stables out. Though undeniably clever, this labor is another where his heroism is questionable. He didn't clean the stables with his own effort but instead relied on natural forces. Would modern employers accept such a loophole as hard work? Or was Hercules merely an ancient con artist? The myth describes Hercules scaring off the monstrous, man-eating Stymphalian birds using a rattle provided by Athena. However, another account suggests that local villagers may have helped him, driving the birds away with noise and fire. Was this labor simply another instance of Hercules receiving outside assistance? If so, then his reliance on divine tools and external help paints a less impressive picture of his legendary prowess. The remaining labors continue this pattern of embellishment and possible deceit. The Cretan bull, the mares of Diomedes, and the girdle of Hippolyta all contain elements of trickery or dubious circumstances. Even the seemingly most impressive task, capturing the three-headed dog Cerberus, suggests that Hades permitted Hercules to borrow the beast rather than wrestle it into submission. By the time Hercules completed his final labor, retrieving the golden apples of the Hesperides, some versions suggest he didn't even steal them himself, he convinced the Titan Atlas to do it for him. The Hercules legend may not just be a tale of personal heroism, it could have served a larger political purpose. The ancient Greeks often used myths to justify conquests and validate their dominance. As Hercules was often portrayed as a civilizing force, his legend reinforced Greek ideals of strength, superiority, and divine favor. The Romans later adopted Hercules as their own, integrating him into their culture as a model of strength and endurance. His myth may have been shaped by political motivations rather than historical truth, cementing him as a symbol of imperial power rather than an actual hero. Was Hercules the greatest liar? While Hercules remains a cultural icon, the evidence suggests that his legacy is built on half-truths, exaggerations, and clever manipulations. His strength may have been real, but his heroism is questionable. Was he a brave warrior, or merely a cunning opportunist who took credit where it wasn't due? One thing is certain, Hercules' legend continues to captivate the world. But now, perhaps, we must view him not just as a hero, but as one of the greatest storytellers of all time, a man whose most impressive feat was convincing the world of his own greatness.